right. So yesterday, what we did at the last in the last half an hour or so was we created this experience system, which is very simple, right? We have one parameter, and then if we oh wait a second, here I'm noticing that our cube, which is what gives us the experience, actually is active, so it should be inactive. So we made it so that if you break this sphere, you're actually going to get a drop, collect the drop, get experience, right? So very standard stuff. So I'm getting this drop, and wait, let me check here. I think this what is the problem? So record this because I want to show you in maybe from start to finish the best way to have the drops, right? And maybe a little bit of better way than what we did yesterday. So first of all, we need to define the dead state, right? So with the sphere, it was when you break the sphere, something else happens. Here we have on each of these enemies, we have on death event, right? We have the health system. This actually goes also for the player. If you want the player to be able to die and then something happens, we can use this death event, right? But in the case of the enemy, let's, oh wait, okay, we can change this. In the case of the enemy, we're going to use here on death. And so what is going to happen on death? What I want to do here is I don't want simply to have an object and then activate it. Okay, this is not great. What I want to do is I want to have a spawner that will spawn a prefab, and so I can also define how many maybe. So maybe there is going to be a bigger enemy that will spawn like multiple, objects. So usually how the drops in games in RPGs work, right? You have the enemy and you have like a separate system that will spawn like specific objects, items, weapons, or some experience drop. And on the basis of the enemy, you can define what is their spawn. So we always use this idea of a spawner here. So what can I do here? I can just take one of these enemies. And by the way, I should definitely make these enemies prefabs. So I didn't do, I mean, they're kind of prefabs but just the models. So I definitely want to make them, make their like final version here a prefab. Just let me check this. Should this be a bit bigger? I guess. Oh wait, no. Why can I see this capsule? What? Oh, there it is here. Oh, okay. So it's sufficient. Yeah, I was just checking the collider on the damage trigger. All right. So and I want to come here. Let me maybe make a new folder. Let's extend this scene here. Okay. All right. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make out of this enemy, this will become a prefab. And here, by the way, if you already have like enemies that are exactly the same or other objects when you make a prefab, you can select all these objects, go to prefab, and simply say replace or replace and keep overrides if you want to keep some specific objects. But I can do here replace enemy, and I think it's this one. Okay, right. And so now what I can do, I'm going to work on the prefab a little bit because I want the spawner here inside and so on. So I'm going to create an object for each of these enemies. So that's why on the prefab, I'm going to call this experience, in this case, spawner, but it can be anything else, of course. I'm going to create here a spawn at action. So it will basically spawn where the enemy is. So experience spawn, and so you see here that we have the spawn point. I'm going to just use the enemy. Maybe we'll change it later, but let's see. Parent is not important right now. And here we have the question, what are we actually spawning, right? And so in our case, maybe let's create some kind of a new, oops, some kind of a new prefab for the experience drop. So I'm gonna do maybe some kind of a sphere. Oops. And this will be experience, let's call it drop. Maybe you can make some kind of a special material that's just maybe emissive, just so we can recognize, okay, this is something that you can pick up, of course. Okay. This should be white. There we go. I'm just changing the material on this object, so it's kind of a more pickup-like. And then what I'm going to do here is, sorry, I'm going to use this trigger sphere, rather this sphere collider, to make it a trigger. And I'm just going to say trigger zone. And if the player collects this, I'm going to give him some experience. But wait, so here I mentioned yesterday, right? The better way would be not to create direct connections, right? But to use our event observer pattern, right? Which is decoupled much better, so we don't have to link like 10,000 objects. So actually, what we can do here is the following thing. We can create, first of all, an event. So I'm going to go here to right-click, create, and then events, and this is going to be a game event. In this case, it's going to be experience pickup or experience drop, whatever. Okay. And now we have this event that will, again, connect the player experience system and the experience pickup, but they can have different reactions, right? So for example, we can say that, first of all, when does this event trigger? It will trigger when the player, of course, enter, like the player is on a pickup. So I'm going to go to the player. Where's the player? Come on. Sorry, I lost my player. There it is. Okay. So I'm just checking if we have here, oh, this is for the damage. Okay, so I think I'm just going to create another object, which is going to be called experience system. And in this object, I'm going to, first of all, of course, put the experience system. Then I'm going to have like maybe just a simple trigger that's going to be called just for, you know, recognizing the experience drops. So this will be experience drop. How did we call this in attack? It's called, oh, just pickup. Okay, let's just use this one, pickup. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to have like some range in which I can pick up these objects. So this will have its own sphere. Technically, you can use the same collider. Okay, on the, maybe your player has just one collider and that's it. Okay, definitely doable. Or if you want like different ranges and stuff, you can also use separate colliders. That's also okay. Right, so this is for our, the trigger zone will recognize the pickup, and the sphere collider will act, I mean, this will be our area. And what do we want now here? We want that when the player is near or is on the pickup, basically, we are going to trigger this event, right? We're going to trigger this experience pickup event. So what we're going to do here is simply use the raise game event raiser. This will be our event, and we'll say that when we recognize an experience drop or experience pickup, we're just going to say, oh, look, we have picked up this thing. So we are raising this event. Now, the event has been triggered. Now, what are the reactions? So on the pickup here, we can just disable it, right? So we don't want to do anything fancy here. So I'm going to put an event listener. Oops, game event listener. And so when this experience drop hears that event, so we are hearing the experience pickup event, it will simply destroy itself. So destroy action. Okay. And the destruction will be on the object itself, and the reaction to that event will be destroy self. All right. And we can even try it out like this. If we have set up everything correctly, we should be able to okay. Wait, okay, we didn't set up everything correctly, so let me check quickly what is the problem. Oh yeah, I think I know what is the problem. We need a rigid, remember that when we have two colliders, so the player technically has a rigid body but it's different kind. It's like inside of the character controller, etc. So we need like a normal rigid body to facilitate the interaction between the objects. So we can say that this sphere might have just a kinematic rigid body. So we can actually be sure that we recognize the interaction between the two trigger colliders. Okay, still not. Let's see what is the problem. So we've set up the rigid body, it's kinematic. We have set up here on the object a trigger, trigger collider, and the event listener that says destroy self. Huh. Should not be autoplay. Okay, so on this part it seems correct. Let's check the player now. So on the side of the player, we have again sphere collider. Oh wait, I know what. I forgot to assign the tag to the object, right? So it basically was not triggering this pickup trigger zone, right? So yeah. Okay, I don't know why this is so slow. This shouldn't be. Okay, now this works. All right, and so let's do the final part of this, like at least the experience collection, which is better if you use this event, like we said. The final part would be that we have to also assign some experience to the player, right? So here, what we can do is basically just add a listening, because I know that the player is kind of, oh wait, either we just do it here inside of the trigger zone, or if we want to keep the object separate, maybe for some other reason, we can also use a listener on some other place. It's the same. Anyway, we can, if we want to be fast, we can just say when we collect this trigger, also the other thing that we want to do is, again, the experience system, this time this script here, we're going to just say experience system and either gain experience or gain level, whatever. Let's give it 50 experience points, right? And I think this should be sufficient. So yeah, technically you don't want to have like a event raiser and an event listener on the same object, but if they're different objects, it's perfectly fine for whatever architecture you want to do. So anyway, this is one. Okay, let's do with 3. So given that we are assigning 50 experience point and we had like 100 experience per level, what we should be able to observe here is that, come on, experience system, we should be able to see that, okay, I collected them all at once. And so, wait, I did not get a level, what? That's strange. Oh yeah, wait, I know why. Yeah, oh wait, I'm sorry, I set this up in the wrong way. Because the problem is that we are raising the event and all of these are listening at the same time, right? So this is not ideal. But if we have like, if we kill one enemy, drop one, collect it, it should be fine. Okay, so in this case we have the 3, and all those 3 are kind of, these are killing themselves when they hear this event. So yeah, let's try to link it with the player death again, so it will make a bit more sense then. Okay. So we said we want the player to, I'm sorry, the enemy to drop this experience that we experience orb that we just created when we kill, so on the dying event, right? So first of all, let me make this a prefab. It's important. So we don't need it here in the scene anymore. And then the second thing would be that inside of the enemy, like I said, we can have a spawner. So it's going to be the spawn at action. We're going to spawn this on the position of the enemy, basically. And the prefab, I'm sorry, not the, I wanted to do this spawn point. And the prefab that we're going to spawn is going to be the experience drop. Yes, the parent is not important. And this one is not important. And so here, what we're going to do is that on the health system, when this enemy dies, we're just going to say spawn this, whatever spawn it is, the experience drop in this case, right? So at that, spawn at action, spawn. And actually, this should be quite sufficient. So now, actually, wait a second. Let me raise the damage of my hits, because otherwise I'm gonna be here all day. So it's a fireball ability, and no, not this one, but okay, I think it's on the enemy. Okay, so the enemy will have this trigger zone. And when we hit with the projectile, we're gonna do, let's say, 50 damage here. Okay. This is loading a bit slow, but no, okay. And okay, it's not. It's not exactly what we need here. So I think the problem is that we're not triggering. So let me check the health system, because I think we're not triggering on that event here. So let's see what we get. What we're getting, we have the take damage, and then we get here is that, okay, we're not checking this anyway. You see that this is green, this is gray, so it means that it's actually unused, which is not great. We, however, have the queue. So let's see what's happening in update. We have the cap, we have if is that, okay, there is a problem. So we are basically checking if is that, right? We're checking this method here in update, but we're never triggering this, right? So it's kind of useless. So what we can do here is that in take damage, we can say something like if health, actually, let me copy this whole phrase, oops. We can say that if the health is less or equal to 0, first of all, we're just going to reset it for good practice. And then we can say that we can run, actually, wait a second, no, not this one, but we can run the is that boolean here. So we can say that, actually, let me remove this as well. We don't need this on second hand. So this one will become true, okay? So yeah, we can do this, or either, oh yeah, and we can also directly do this if the health is 0, is that is true, and then we can directly invoke this take damage, right? I'm sorry, this death event here, which is the on death unity event. And then the other thing that is missing here is that we are actually not. We can also do it like this. We can check also this is that method in update every time, right? These are actually two equivalent ways to do the same thing. But okay, so let's see, here is on that evoke. Actually, okay, let me optimize this just slightly. Is that, I'm going to do it here, is that, and And okay, so let's try this again. So yeah, we weren't triggering that on that event basically, so that's why it was not happening. Let's see if now we can recognize the enemy dying at 0 health. Okay, so now the enemy is dying and we're spawning this. Now, what can we add here that is a bit more? So first of all, we can have some kind of a dying animation, right? This can be nice, and of course, we can take reference from our Mixamo. Let me log in here. And this is also important, so it would be very nice in your projects if you are able, besides of course the core loop, etc., to have like a little bit more feedbacks stuff, right? Like in this case, I'm going to activate okay, these are a bit extreme, but well, I don't like making games with violence. But anyway, let's see this without skin FBX. And oh wait, maybe not this one. This is walking. I just need stationary. Okay, so I'm just downloading this animation here without the model. All right. Come on. Assets. John. Yeah, sure. If you keep the noise down, that's doable. All right, assets. Okay, and here, of course, we need to make this humanoid. We don't care about the other stuff. Right, and what I'm going to do here is that to trigger this animation, this is also a quick like summary about animation triggers. So I need a controller, right? I need a controller. This will be my enemy animator. I'm just gonna plug it here where the enemy is. Maybe even on all enemies. Okay. Or we can just do it inside of the prefab. I can open the prefab even better, plug it here, and then all are updated, right? Alternatively, if I change it on your one prefab, I can also go overrides and then apply all, and then it will be saved on the prefab. These are different ways to do the same thing. Then I have the enemy animator. And now what I want to do is when we are triggering animations, even just one animation, right? We need at least two states. We need an empty or idle, better, let's call it an idle state. And then we need the actual state that we're going to trigger here in the animator, which in our case will be our dying animation, right? And so what we need here is that, actually we don't need anything else. We just need to connect this dying state from any state. It will come here. We need a trigger parameter, right? That's called dying, I guess. And yeah, and we just need to link the transition between any state and dying with this parameter. Boom. And now we can call this anytime on any enemy, and we can see them perform this animation. Given that the satisfactory kind of event in games, oh wait, we see here that this is, so why is this happening? Well, because first of all, this avatar here needs to be humanoid, right? So I didn't check if the avatar, maybe we imported it, but never never actually made it humanoid, which is a problem. So let me check here what is the state of the situation here. So this is the enemy, and like what? Okay, oops, skin mesh render. Oh yeah, there is the abstract avatar. And the abstract avatar is a humanoid, so we shouldn't have a problem. Let's see if this one. Okay. So let's make sure that this is humanoid. Okay, this is humanoid. Okay. So a problem sometimes might arise with the, if we have an empty state in the animator, which is not, let's see if it behaves correctly. If not, we'll probably try to use a just some kind of idle animation, so we can give it the first state, which is humanoid, and then the second state will as well be humanoid, so we don't have this kind of, when you see this problem, it means that the rig is breaking somewhere, right? And it's probably some of the animations. Usually an empty state is not kind of overwriting the rig, so it's kind of strange. But anyway, let's give it some kind of a idle animation first. Let's take this one. And so this way it will always be kind of active here. Okay. This will be idle. And of course, will be humanoid. Let's change it here as well. Well, and now inside of the enemy, let's open the prefab. It's animator. We're actually going to put here the idle clip either this way, or we can just drag and drop the idle here. Right click, set this layer as default layer, and we should be fine here. If we're not fine, it means that there is something wrong with the actual model. So hopefully. Okay, perfect. So yeah, it was the empty state, although usually it's okay, but anyway. So we have one idle animation and one dying animation. And what I wanted to do here is selecting any of these characters, I can do dying, and we can see that they will actually perform the animation, right? Okay. So we have the kind of the feedback part, which is this animation, right? So now let's actually connect this to the health system. So again, I'm going to open the enemy prefab. I'm going to find here the health system. And now that we saw that we are actually activating this on that trigger, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do, first of all, okay, the spawning of the experiences. Okay, we can keep this. Second of all, I'm going to do the animator set trigger dying. And third of all, I think we don't want to have the thing lying, just the enemy lying down. Probably we want to disable it at some point, right? So I'm just going to use the destroy action on the enemy itself. I'm going to give it a little bit of delay to execute the animation. And then I'm going to say also here that when it's done with everything, it should also destroy self or destroy, given they should both do the same thing, right? because this is on the same object. And so let's finally check this, the full sequence. Okay. Okay, so this is a problem with the looping animation. So um, let's try to fix it quickly. But you saw that the basic sequence. So let's try to fix this problem. So for the first problem is actually that the spawn is somewhere on the feed, so this is not ideal. So maybe let's fix the spawn position first. Spawn position is here at spawn action, and we spawn it at at the origin of the enemy. But maybe we can just create a different object, which will be the spawn x experience spawn point, and we'll just place it somewhere in the middle, right? We don't want it to be in the ground. And so this is the first problem here. And the second problem is the animation that is kind of triggering multiple times. So let's check if these animations are correctly set up. So the idle animation actually should be looping, right? Because we want the enemy to be perpetually in this idle state for now. Maybe later you can add moving, whatever. But this should be definitely looping. The dying animation shouldn't be looping. So we can check now, like a bit more carefully with a single enemy, why it is kind of triggering multiple times. Because either something is triggering, maybe the event is, we're calling the event twice or something like this. So we'll check this in a second. Let me just check here first. Okay. So by the way, you see that I'm kind of, some of the things I'm kind of thinking about them on the go, and probably your process will be the same. So, okay, you try to do something, it's not working perfectly, let's revise what were the steps and so on. So this is kind of always the case, right? And you're just trying to keep at it until it's what you intended. So let's try that again, but this time I want to observe the animator. Okay, so the idle is looping correctly. I'm gonna shoot the enemy. Okay, and wait, no, I need to select the correct enemy. What is this enemy here? All right, it's the fourth enemy. Sorry, right. So I'm supposing that we're triggering these multiple times, but we have to probably added one line too many in the script. So let's see here again. And now we should see, yeah, oh wow, you're triggering this a lot of times, that's the problem. Okay, so let's see then what the interaction here. And we can kind of try to trace this back from the start. So from backwards maybe. So where do we trigger this? We trigger this in the health system, right? Health system on that. The first thing we do is we trigger this dying animation. The second thing is how is this death event actually triggered? So let's check this out. This death event here, we just added it before. It is triggered. Oh yeah, I should remove this here. So it's triggered twice. This was my bad because I left this once. Is that, and then I left this as well. And then we have the take damage, which converts the boolean here, right? So we don't actually need this here. So in this case, we should be able to, yeah, we should be able to trigger it just once. Maybe even not checking this. So let's see here. These are basically the same way to do, different ways to do the same thing. So at some point we need to make a choice, but and now the final thing left is here to make sure that this should be triggered only once. Okay, now I think, okay, removed one too many. So, oh, sorry, let me revise this quickly. So, changing this to the simplest iteration. Okay. The take damage method itself. This is also a better kind of way to not have too many things in update, right? Because if we have too many stuff that are always checking in update, always cycling, not ideal. Oh, okay. And we finally have this. Now, a little bit of polish in the sense that this reaction maybe should take a little bit longer, like maybe let's give it a 4 seconds delay so we can see the whole animation. But other than that, it should be fine, right? So, okay. All right, so this is a bit too fast. I'm not sure why it's not actually waiting 4 seconds, but like more like 2 seconds, but anyway. And if you want to be like hyper precise, I think I showed you the animation events, right? We can also do something like where the experience drop is actually dropped at the end of the animation, right? So something like this is an alternative way. Instead of kind of calling the spawn action on here on that, right? So the spawn action can also not be on that, but what we want to do is actually, let me find here the animation. What we want to do is actually spawning the this thing here only when the animation is completed, something like this, right? We can, if you remember the animation events, we can simply go on the enemy. We can do the animation trigger event. And we can use one of these, like basically just what changes is the name. So we can say here animation event trigger, and here we are going to spawn the action spawn. And how does this how can we input this? Well, inside of the animation clip, we have events. We can add an event and say that this event should be towards the end somewhere, and it should be called just event 1, I guess. The same as this one, event 1. And now we have, again, we are spawning this experience drop, but not right when we kill the enemy, because it's kind of weird. It's clipping in the body and so on, but we wait for the animation. Oh, wait. I think I forgot to take it out from the trigger zone here, from the health system. Okay. No, it's actually not linked here. So animation, we have the destroy action restarting. I'm just going over the sequence again. Take damage, this is correct. We have the spawn of the experience drop, destroy itself, and then here we have this event. So okay, so the event is triggering, but it's not triggering in the correct time. So I'm not sure what is the problem here. Event 1. By the way, we can also do something even simpler, maybe not even using the animation event triggers. Spawn at action will have this spawn action, right? So we can even just say that this one is called spawn because it's on the same object here. So let's see if that helps with the timing a little bit. Oh yeah, I think I know what the problem is. I keep doing this on the enemy 1, which is actually this enemy here and not the other one. Anyway, if you do this on a prefab inside of the scene, you want to propagate you can just select overrides, apply all. Now it should be applied to all of the other enemies. In this case, the one in front of me is the enemy 4. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay. And now we have the spawn after the end of the thing. We can select the spawn and we can see that we are getting some experience, right? We can repeat that for the other enemies. And of course, now it's kind of easy because they are static. But it would be more interesting if they're kind of fighting back. This is spawning. Okay. Okay. Right. So let me summarize the sequence, okay? So what we did first was we placed an experience system on the player, right? And this is done using we have the experience system script, and we have the trigger zone that will recognize attack of the experience drop. And here what I did was use the game event raiser to just link to the experience drop itself, so we can make it disappear, etc. So this is the first step, setting up the experience of the player. Maybe I'll send it to you if you want the configuration. So okay. The second thing is actually creating the actual experience pickup, right? The experience pickup should be some object, whatever you want, with the specific tag for this that you've chosen for this system. And here we just have the game event listener and the destroy action. And so when this object hears about that we have actually raised the pickup event on the player side, so it hears the event, we have the reaction, which is destroy itself. Boom. And we make this into a prefab. This is the second step. Let me maybe send you this one, although this is easy. And of course, and there is a third step, which is how do we set up the enemy itself. So on the enemy side, we have a health system, of course. We made a change on the health system. I'm going to send it to you in a second if you want to substitute, where we are actually triggering the death event. And on the death event, we have linked an animation, which you should already know how to do. We've done this at least twice, I think. So health system triggering this animation, triggering a destroy action, and the only additional thing here is that we are destroying the object with some delay, with a couple of seconds of delay, 2 or 4 seconds, whatever, so that we can make it so that when we get towards the end of the animation clip here, okay, only then we are spawning the actual experience drop, right? And how do we do this? We have events. We just create an event somewhere towards the end, maybe even longer, and we just call this spawn, because spawn is the method that we are using here for the spawn action. And the spawn action will just have the experience drop here, maybe some spawn position, and that's it. Okay, so I think the enemy is like the hardest part of all of this, but for the enemy, just remember, if you want to implement this, first do the spawn action, and then do the on that event, and then finally, if you want, the animation trigger event. If not, just call this drop again on the dead event here. That's all. So I'm gonna do, wait, no, the health system is here, spawn action. Actually, these are correctly combined here. So and this is the enemy. All right, so this is kind of a more elaborate sequence, right? Because we use the health systems, we have the projectiles, okay, health on that event, etc. We are doing various stuff, and then the pickup itself. But I think like it's, if you manage to implement it, it's a good exercise. So Sylvia, is that like more or less clear, or you? Yeah, I mean the scripts. I only use them. I only changed. Yeah, I'll send you this change here. I just added this to the take damage event in the health system, right? So okay, I'll send you the health system. Yeah, no worries. I mean the health system is, well, okay. I'll send it to you. No worries. I think we probably made like a couple of versions, but just a second. So health system. Let's go. By the way, the health system is always useful. Like for example, Ilana, I think also for your project, right? Not so much that you're going to have combat, but maybe you don't want to destroy your ship, right? Like if your ship touches the asteroid, you don't want to destroy it right away, right? So maybe you give it like some kind of like 5 health points, whatever, and then right, you can even give like a little bit of feedback, right? If the health point is 4 or 3 or 2, whatever, maybe you have some fire, like a little bit of just so you don't, one shot die, which is frustrating. All right, so I uploaded this health system here with the additional thing. Yeah, so this is kind of the Nurjan, is this, do you think you could implement this? Yeah. Okay. And so yeah, let me give you a little bit of time and space, and then I'll finish this with how can we use experience to actually do something, right? Unlock abilities, whatever. But if you want to try this out, take a little bit of time. Let me show you this final thing, that how we can use this experience system to actually do stuff, and it will be like super easy. Basically, and I'm not gonna kind of give you the script for this. If you want to try it, maybe try to edit the experience system yourself, but I'm gonna show you like a possible way. So basically what we have here is that we saw that we can actually, well, we can kill these enemies, and then they drop stuff, collect them, raise our levels, right? So what I will do here in this experience system is probably just add some events, right? I can add some events that are maybe on experience gain in general, or maybe on level gain, or maybe on specific level gain. So let me show you how we can do this here. By the way, I just realized that I think I pushed this animation timing too far away. So let me find the events here. Okay, so this is probably too far away, so we need to, I wanted to put it on the end of the animation anyway. Okay, and then spawn and action spawn. Okay, now this is spawning, we're collecting this, and so on. So now what I will do here is, in the experience system, I'll just come here and I will put a couple of events, right? So to use the events, we've already seen this. So Unity Engine UI, I'm sorry, events, UIs, of course, for the UI if you want it. And we can say something like, here we are defining all the events, right? We can say something like public Unity event. And this will be on experience gain. This will be one of them. Another might be on level up. And then we can do some more concrete stuff. But where do we plug these events? Where do we actually raise them, right? So now probably we can understand a little bit better how events work in general, right? Because whether we are using internal events, so these so-called Unity events here, which are what we know already so far from the inspector, so all of this stuff, right, that are also buttons in the UI, in the animation, whatever, all of these are events. And even if they are internal, they need to be raised somehow. So it is the same idea as these separate, like I've done with these external events, which are not Unity events, but are another type, but same, absolutely the same logic, simply that here we are raising them, we are activating them externally, so it is kind of visible, right? And maybe we do this with through another event, so we can chain them. But even if they're internal events, so like Unity event here, we still need to raise them. We still need to activate in some way. And we do this inside of the code by just pairing them with a method usually. So we activate them inside of some method. So on experience gained would be, well, we can just say that gain experience method will activate this event here. And this will be on experience gained dot invoke, right? The same thing can happen on level up. Where is our level up method? So it's either here, but by the way, this one is not, like this is just to gain, just to right away give the player some level. We're actually doing the checks here inside of the update. So we can either activate, actually we can activate this event on in both places, right? Because either we have naturally gain the level by raising experience, blah, blah, or we want to directly kind of give the player experience. So we can put it also here. And now that I think about it, I will probably just to keep things a bit cleaner, I would probably want to extract this in a separate method. So I would say something like check level up. So this means that, okay, are we leveling up? So this will be our check. And this here method we're gonna execute it in update, right? So it's the same thing, I just encapsulated it inside of a method. So every time we're checking, and if we did gain a level, we can even do something like, just to make this even cleaner, we can say something like this. So given that gain a level is, what is it? Augment the level number, reset experience, and then activate this event, right? We can just say that this method here will check if the experience is, like we did yesterday, it's greater or equal to the experience per level. Okay, did we get 100 experience? And then we say just gain level. Great. And here we're chaining this a little bit. But this is also a kind of a good, a little bit modular, approach where we separate things. And if we want to expand them later, we can expand them either just here, in update. I don't know, maybe we can do something else. Right. And so we have these two events now. So if I go back to my experience system, I'll say on experience gained and on level up. And here probably the good thing would be to kind of give the player some feedback, right? So we might, for example, have some particles or some sound effects or something like this every time we gain a level. And yeah, I'm thinking in terms of feedback, we also actually didn't place something like a slider. By the way, we can always do this. And actually, let me show you. Probably we can do. Try to think. Should be 100 and then just the level number. Yeah. So for example, if we wanted to add, just to also give a little bit of feedback and clarity of the player, right? This is just some UI design. If we wanted to give the player, do we have a canvas here, some visual feedback of this, just like we do with the health system, right? At the end, we can do something like this. Let's find here the slider. Maybe this one will be our health system. And I'm not sure why this is, oh, okay. Okay. So here I'm noticing that I changed it actually should be the other way around. So in every slider in Unity, we have like the background area and then the fill area, right? So actually what we want to do here is that we want the fill area to be kind of gray or whatever you want, and maybe the background area to be like this. So then when we actually move the slider, it seems that we are kind of decreasing. This is one way to do it. Or let me think, maybe or we can also do something like this, where if it's the other way around, so let me go back a little bit. We can also come to the slider and just, if we want this to be like on the, maybe on the left side, on the right side of the screen, we can just also invert the directions here. So you see that, okay? This is decreasing. We can say the direction of the slider is right to left or left to right. So this is also a possibility, either way. Maybe this is a bit better. Yeah, and so I was adding here the experience view as well. Let me fix this a little bit, okay? And so this will be the health HP slider. And I'm gonna do one more, which can be maybe below this. And maybe this one I can make it shorter. So let me make it 350. Also because we need as well the label for the actual levels, right? So we can do a slider here, but also we need UI canvas text mesh pro text, right? So and you can always use the 2D version to kind of edit your stuff. So this will be my level label here. Okay. And maybe the color, of course, should be somewhat different. Okay. Experience slider, and this will be this one here. And so how do we integrate this with the code? We can just come here. Okay, now we want to use the UI. We're gonna add here This will be the events. Basic variables, and this will be our, oops, I'm going to call this UI, and I'm going to place here slider experience slider, oops. And then I'm going to have the level text as well, so public. Now, an important thing here to always remember is that in Unity nowadays, like for many years, we're not using the normal, this is already legacy text, like the normal text element. We are using text, something called Text Mesh Pro. And so here, this will be TMP text, and this will be the level text, okay? Okay, so slider NA text. And then what I'm gonna do here is I will probably just have like a separate method here that will be update experience UI, basically. And I'll just say that my experience, so the experience slider field, experience slider field, oh sorry, value, will equal to experience, and then the level text will be the level. To string means that we're converting this from the, it's a int, and we're gonna just convert it to a string, to textual. And then I have the update, actually let's just call it update UI. Update UI will be in the update method because we want this to update every cycle, every frame basically. Alternatively, we can also update the UI inside of these methods if we don't want to clog our update, but anyway, it's same thing for us. And now let's start. Let's just check if this is kind of working correctly. And so in this way, we should have the visual feedback for the experience, and then also the let's see if this compiles, come on, and also the events where we can hook them to some specific thing. Okay, the Unity project is, wait, what? Oh wait, yeah, I forgot to. Of course, now that we have added new fields, we have to populate these fields here like this. Otherwise, your game is gonna break. Okay. And now we can also see this inside of the editor. This version of Unity has this bug that the F key is not, sometimes it's not working, it's terrible. So we are killing all of these enemies. So we're gaining these levels, right? Okay, and now we've gained 2 levels here, basically, right? And the final step is, like I said, we want to maybe unlock something, or we want to do some other stuff. Like, for example, something fun to do might be that if you have like the health system and your health system is maybe it's not full, right? You've taken some damage. Maybe you can say something that like every time that you gain a level, you also like fill up your health points, right? This is very common in RPG games. So here we might say something like in experience system on level up, we can go to, we can reference the health system, and we can say just simply heal to 100 points, right? So this is one way to integrate, to make like different system talks and different systems talk. And this is not even like through script. We're just using the events and public methods that we already have for them, for both of the systems. Here I'm gonna gain a level, and okay, so I've gained one level and I've healed up, right? So this is nice. But the other thing might be that, what if we have some ability, like for example, we have one of these movement abilities. Let me find them here. And we want to unlock this ability specifically at, I don't know, level 3 or whatever, like in normal RPG progression. So let's say that I'm gonna go to this. I'm sorry, let me find, I had some, oh yeah, these abilities here. So for example, let's try something that we didn't try. For example, this teleport ability. Or maybe we tried it, I don't remember. But anyway, we have this. I'm gonna continue adding stuff in the player. So this will be the teleport ability. And as you see, I'm placing all of this on separate objects, so it's a bit more clear to see, right? Because they can all be also on the player object, but okay, too much stuff. So FPS teleport ability. I will use something like, do I have, oh, we already created it. Anyway, we have the teleport action. I don't remember what it is, but it's the T key. Okay. Let me place something else, like maybe 4 on the keyboard, simply so we don't, because the T is already taken, I think. And then we have the layers, require attack no, high set cooldown. We maybe have some out and in effect, which is nice, but okay. And let's try first if this works, and then we'll try to unlock it in the specific level. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is I told you this should be on the can be on the separate object, but actually no, because I made it and I forgot that I made it to be. Okay, this is not great. Maybe I should change this, but later. So yeah, we should have like a target reference always, so that we can place it on a different object. But anyway, in this case, it teleports the object on which this script is, right? So in this case, we don't have like a separate target, so we need to put it on the player root. Okay. And I can just go and teleport. We can make this a little bit better with some particles and effects, etc. But and maybe a cooldown would be nice here as well. All right. And it's basically just a raycast that will recognize some surface and send me there. Now, what if we want? What if I want to kind of enable this ability on level 3, let's say, or on level 2? Well, it's actually very simple. We can just use. There is a better way to do it, but for now, for this year, I'm going to just use a simple if statement, right? So I'm going to create here a new event, which is going to be event on level 2 reached. Okay. And I'm going to say maybe in the gain level or in the check level up, whatever works here. I can say that if level is, always do the greater or equal, not just equal. If the level is greater or equal than 2, let's enable, or actually no, I'm sorry, in this case, let's just do the equal. Here, actually, we don't need, because then we might check other levels, etc. So on level 2 reached would be, so here we have this event, and when we reach the level 2, we're gonna trigger this event. Something will happen from the editor. So you see that it's like super. There is better way to do this with like a custom event that is a separate class. It defines with both the level and the response. But anyway, it's too much for now. And let's see the final thing in action. So we have the experience system. We have here on generic experience gained, on generic level up, and on level 2 reached. And what I want to do here is simply reference the player, FPS teleport ability enabled. Okay, so nothing much. Maybe I'll add some text and feedback and say, okay, hey, you have unlocked a new ability. Maybe I can even just actually let's do this just to visualize this. Maybe I'll have my abilities again on the UI in the screen, and I'll just have something like, oops, and I'll have something like a image, right? Just like an icon for my ability. And I'm not sure if I have here something suitable, but let's use this one, I guess. And I can just say TP icon, so I can give the player some feedback that you have actually unlocked this one. And actually, if you want to make it a bit better, you can have like a locked icon and then unlocked icon. But anyway, from experience system in the same event here on level 2 reached, I will also just enable this icon. So you see what the level is. I mean, we're not doing anything complex, right? Just having some feedbacks, just enabling, disabling stuff. What is important is the sequence, the order of operations. All right. And now let's check this final sequence here. All right. And you can do this, by the way, the same thing for other levels. Okay, this is a stupid way to do it, but it's simple. So you can just add here other if statements and maybe other events or directly some logic inside. So I will be monitoring here. So I'm trying to get some experience. Wait, what? Why didn't it drop? Come on. Okay, this version of Unity has an F key bug. This is super annoying. Okay, this one dropped one. What happened with the other one? Not sure. And so now I should be gaining level 2. Oh no, actually this is level 1. So actually let me cheat a little bit and just a second. I'll cheat a little bit and I'll actually have both of these here so I can, all right. And now I've gained level 2 and you see that I've enabled the teleport ability, right? With just simple events that we already know, and just in this case, I didn't enable or disable the object, but I enabled just the teleport component, right? This is also a viable way to do stuff. And yeah, so I would do something like this. I'll send you this script if you want, but just remember that if you want like more abilities or other stuff, you can place new events here in the experience system. And this works just like literally copy this, add new event, add here a new if statement, and So this should be on level 3 if you have other stuff. On level 3 reached, and this if level is 3, then just change the name of the event here. It says event invoke. And yeah, that's basically how I would do like a simple experience system. We have some UI, we have the enemy drops experience pickups. We are unlocking stuff when we raise experience. So this will be completely sufficient if you manage to implement this. And then next year we can do it in a much better way with scaling and stuff like this. Anyway, right. So let me stop here with this. So do you have any questions? I don't know, Sylvia or Nurjan, if you want to implement this. Is this clear how it works? Okay. So maybe try it out. Sorry? Yeah. I will upload everything tonight. Yeah. From last time, I think we had the streaming, but this one is not streaming because the internet is not great. So I'll upload everything. Yeah. So let me give you this updated experience system, and we are done with this. And I guess explaining other stuff. So experience on. All right. It's uploaded. I'll explain this for everybody because this is kind of crucial feedback. If you have like some kind of object interactions, etc. Actually, no, let me do it with one thing. So this should have the the rigid body, grab, interactable, and then my player will have the grab interactor. I have the XR manager here. I'm not going to use the raycast. Now, what can we do here? Well, maybe in your scene you have different objects, right? Maybe you have some objects that you can pick up, other objects not. So you need to differentiate between them, right? And a very useful way is just highlight stuff, right? So I would do this in the simplest way. I think maybe I showed you this, but I showed it to you on pickup, but it's actually more useful on hover. So when you focus an object that you can actually pick up, then only then change the material. So go to lecture 16, right click, create a, I mean, it's for me, the lecture 6, I don't know for you what is a folder, but highlight. I'm just going to create a highlight material. It's white and it's a bit shiny. Okay, so we recognize. And then on the object itself, I'm going to place material swap action, right? This is so we can swap the material with a highlight material. So this is very easy way to do highlight. And then again, this is on the object. So the target is the object, new material is the highlight material. And then what I can do here is simply on the grab interactable script from the events, I can go to hover, right? I can go to hover, enter, and I can say material swap action swap. So it means that when I look at an object that is kind of interactable, I would change its color, I would highlight it, and then if I'm not looking on it, so hover exited, I'll just revert, right? So material swap and material revert on an interactable object. So this is, and you can even maybe place a sound or whatever. And then you probably don't need, well, I still have it, which is stop. Come on. No, I think I have it for other reasons. Do I have another material that, I have to check. Anyway, so you see now that it's, yeah, it's highlighted when I pointed it, and then I can pick it up, right? And so in this case, you don't need this line to give you stuff. So now I just need to check if, yeah, I was just telling everybody, like if you have objects that you want to pick up, like a good idea is, because maybe you have many objects in your scene, right? a good idea to kind of highlight them on hover, like not on picker, but when you look at them, if the object is interactable, then you illuminate, like you highlight it, right? Like here, okay, I can pick this up, I can take it now, etc. And this is done, I think I showed you this is the same way with the, with the material swap action. So I have here material swap action, just a highlight color, and in the interactable, the grab interactable object, I just go to hover enter material swap, and then hover exit material revert, right? So that's highlighting only if you look at the object now that you can pick up. So now let's check one more time this line here. Why is this doing stuff? So let's make it 0 width. Oh, this, okay, so there is I have, so Sylvie, it's not your problem, it's my problem, because I wrote this badly, but power ability, it's not the aim, it's shoot action. Oh, is it the shoot action? No, it's not the shoot action. Come on, what is it? There is something that for me it's keep the rendering the line. It keeps rendering the line, which is wrong, of course. It's not. If you turn off the line, do you still see it when you play the game again? Try it now. So you can still see it even if it's turned off. Okay, perfect. Okay. So let me, I think I'll just disable it from the script, but you can still see it, yeah. Okay, let me change this a little bit. I don't remember what I wrote here, but line setup line render, and this is on awake. Yeah, that's definitely the problem. So set up the line render, and it's okay. So can you open your script and just disable this line here? And this goes for everybody. Like if you're using this FPS grab interactor, yeah, and you don't want the line, okay, just open the script in the wake method. The last thing you can just delete or just comment out. Sorry, come again? Which one you mean? Yeah, you have to uncheck. Okay. If you don't see it, that's okay. If you still see it, because I can still see it, I don't know why. I think it's some problem with maybe in my scene start or whatever. You can just uncheck this whole stuff here, and then it should be fine. Okay. Okay. Now we're perfect. Now without the line, you can still point to stuff, right? And see them highlighted, pick them up, etc. So it's still, everything is doable. Okay, so let's see this. Nojan was asking how to like shoot or spawn or do something precise in an animation from a specific point. Yes. So actually, I'm gonna open a new scene because this one is already too big here. What should I call this position? Oh, okay. And here I'm just gonna use the after the avatar. Put it on a plane. Put it here. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. Now I think I have some animations. Let me find them here. Asset library animations. Magic attacks. Projectile. Okay, I'm going to use the same projectile attack here. This one, yeah. This is terrible. But anyway, it will do the job. And so I'm going to do an animator somewhere. Do I have one? Let's do a new one. Avatar, animator. Okay. And actually, I'm going to do the idle first. Do I have an idle one called idle? What is this? Let's check it out. No, it's nothing. Idle stance, maybe this one. Nothing is working here. That's funny. Okay, I'm going to use one of these. Looking around. So this will be my idle animation, idle state. We need at least two, right? So we have this fireball animation here, right? And so what I'm gonna do is, well, you know, this part trigger fireball, just so we can do we have some trigger, any type of trigger. And I'm gonna do it here on the transition. And maybe after we do this, we go back to idle, something like this. Then maybe for you it's different, but now let's see if this works. Okay. Okay, and here we can just, oh yeah, because I already have a, I already have some kind of event on this animation. Fireball, okay. So we're shooting the animation. So how can we shoot exactly from some specific place? Let's do first the spawn here. So I'm gonna do the fireball ability, whatever it was called. And this will be the spawn. Wait, it's not the spawn, it's the shooting ability, shooting something, shoot action, okay. Shoot action. Do I have some fireball? Okay, I have some projectile to shoot, the force impulse, okay. And then I need well, I am not going to do any target now, just the shoot point. And the shoot point should be, okay, so now the shoot point is interesting, right? The shoot point should be on the arm. So what I'm going to do here is, I think, I'm going to come here with the animator, if this compiles, okay. I will try to trigger this. We'll pause it where it's extended, right? And I'll try to create, actually I should have created before, but anyway, I'm going to create here an object, shoot point. And I'm going to try to position it exactly where the arm is, or where the projectile should come from, right? Should come from somewhere here, whatever, okay? And given that I'm in runtime, I can just copy this so I can paste it later. So I'm copying this, stop, paste. And of course, it should be relative to the player. So the player, when it shoots, it's a little bit angled, whatever the animation, right? Oops. Okay. This is the position. And now firebase ability, I'm going to say shoot point is this one. I'm going to shoot the fireballs. Okay. And of course, if I rotate this, this is parented. This is parented. And now, how do we actually do the shooting? We have two ways to do it. The first way is with the animation trigger events that I showed you. So basically, you can use the animation trigger and you have event 1, 2, and 3. And then on the animation itself, So if you open the animation, fireball, where is it? There is projectile attack for me. It's called projectile attack. You can come here at the event and where should it be? You can look exactly for the timing. Is it here? Maybe here, something like this, right? So it should be what is this? 26 seconds. So it's somewhere here. And we can call this just event 1. Why? Because we have this event here that's called in this, with the same name. So how does this animation event works? They basically work. They call some function that's already on your object, any public function, right? So if I have a script that's just oh, wait a second. I'm sorry, I have a faster way to do this. So this is through the events. If you want to chain, do other feedbacks, other stuff. If you don't want to do this, actually there is a faster way, which is just adding this shooting script to your model. So the same place where the animator is, right? And given that this already has a public method, which is called, I think it's shoot, right? Let me find it here. Update shoot, yeah, this public method shoot, right? We can simply, and it's on the same object where the animator is, we can simply go inside of the animation, projectile attack. This event here can simply say shoot, that's it. So it should simply call the name of any method, any public method that's on the same object. That's the whole deal. And this event here is timed, right? You can place it on any place in the animation. And then we combine this with the position of the shoot position and the timing of the animation. And then we should be able to trigger the animation. And then the animation triggers through its own event, it triggers the method, right? So let's find it here, shoot. So it's spawning stuff now, but let me check why it's not spawning, because can I wait, sorry, let me check this for a second. So yeah, if you need to go, you can go, guys. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, see you next week. Bye bye. Wait, can you? I'm sorry, I want to try to find a better animation because this is terrible. So Jifeng wanted to try to do you have a dog and you throw the ball, and then the dog goes where the ball is and then comes back. Yes. So let's maybe use the same, something similar. I just want animation that's at least straight, so we don't have to. Maybe something like this. Okay, let's do this one. Without skin, FBX. Yeah, I didn't, by the way, record the second part. I'm sorry, before I set it on pause, but the problem was that this shoot action always needs a target. So let's make this shoot action to always have a target. Events, I'm gonna put it here, is shooting. Okay, cooldown spread level. Okay, his target, or is targeting, or rather is target bound. Okay, now it's false. And I'll say that, where is the shoot at? Here, if is target bound. Okay, we're gonna have this. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I noticed now that wait, it's not good. Yes, we have this shoot at position. Vertical return time, rest time, direction, target positions. Oh, Yeah, so I have to rewrite this whole function. Rotation is the same thing. The projectile lifetime makes sure. Okay. So we can say like this: spawn position is shoot position. So sorry, just a minute here, so I can make this right. Is target bound. We're going to do this. Else direction is going to be the shoot point. Direction is just going to be this is a spawn position. Spawn position. Is this? Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. A different approach, because otherwise I have to rewrite here inside everything. So okay, let's it like this: if is target bound, and then we get this. If else will be vector change target position will be spawn position. Spawn. Where is this? The spawn. How is it called? Shoot point. Shoot point position. Vector tree of target height offset. Okay. And then we'll say should I position this. So yeah, theoretically, if we don't have a target, it should just shoot forward, and that's it. Maybe just for vector if4. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then okay, so this will be the throw animation. And so here I'll change this a little bit with, instead of the fireball, I'm going to do the throw animation. Here, this will be throw. And then go back to item. And okay, this one should be throw the conditions. Okay. And now I'm going to use the same shoot action. Okay, Jifeng, you can use the same thing to throw the bow, because you don't actually need to have the same bow object. You can just spawn the bow, and then the dog takes it and then brings it back, destroy the bow, then spawn a new bow, right? This, I mean, you can, if we do a different thing, you can use also the same bow, but I think this is a bit faster now. And I don't want to target here. It's not target bound, so it should shoot forward. So let's see it this way here. Oops. And here I think I'm just gonna have like a bow here with a sphere. This will be the bow, much smaller than this, I guess. Okay. I'll put the highlight so we can actually see it, and prefab one. Now here I'm going to be shooting this bow here. Oh wait, not the shoot point, but here. And now for the shoot animation, for the throw animation, I need to check. Okay. So it's here. I need to check where the position of the hand is, right? It's the same logic here. This hopefully is not sideways. So I can go with this. Okay. So maybe now it's already thrown. So can I? Ah, okay. So sorry, one more time. Okay, somewhere here. So the shoot point should be somewhere here. And then I copy this, or I just do copy component, stop, paste component values. Yeah, so, and I think we can, and the rest is the same, right? We have this, oh wait, no, it's not the same, because on the throw animation, we should actually place the event where we spawn the thing, right? So it's, where is it? It's here, somewhere here. So it's 21. Event here. This is 50. Let's put it. Oh, yeah, it's this is the arrow, and we will say shoot from here. Bam. Maybe wait, maybe a little bit farther. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Right. And everything else should be the same in terms of setup. Wait, what should I use here? Oh yeah. Um, so I think it's a problem with the target here. So let's give it some target, even if just for this. Ah, terrible. So I'm not sure why it's still using it, because I gave it the no target use, is target bound. It's not target bound. So I'm not sure why it's keep using this. So I have to check this. Target position. Should position go. Let's do it like this. But it's not height offset. Do we have some height offset? Okay, projected time. Pushing board next shoot time. Okay. Price spread. Okay, I'm just checking this projector prefab is no, it's so it seems correct. So sure why. Anyway, let's sorry about that. I'll try to fix it for next time. But let's say that just for the time being, if we need a target, we can have like a tree or some stuff. Um, okay. Shoot. Oh wait, this should be throw because the animation here is called throw. Okay, just a couple more minutes and I'll let you go. Okay, so I'm sorry, we're gonna use a target. I don't know why it doesn't accept my. So let's say that we have some kind of tree here. We are shooting and we're throwing stuff at the tree. I'm going to use also the loop target here. Okay. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't I need rigid body on the bow so we can actually use the physics on it. Okay. And now, so now that we've sorted the throwing, right, with the animation position and animation event inside, you have some dog that uses the AI navigation, right? It uses NavMesh. So what we can do is like when you spawn the bow and it touches the ground, okay? I don't know why it stops by, oh, it doesn't stop, it's just simply, okay. But at least this animation is kind of straight, so, okay. And now what you need to do is that when the bow touches the ground, you need to generate a waypoint, right? And nav mesh, let's do it fast. Nav mesh, surface here. I'm gonna do everything for now. So here, or wait, no, let's still do the layers nav mesh because then we use the same layers for stuff. So nav mesh here. Come on. This should be nav mesh. Okay. Sorry. Oh, right. um, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about the. Just a second, so I can check the. No, wait, no. Actually, maybe there is a faster way. Is I have the NPC movement, and the NPC movement has this nav mesh. I made this. It was like the simplest thing. So agent destination, and do we have the set destination here? Okay, so let me just add one more method. I'm going to give you this move to. Oh, there is a move to transform. Oh, actually, this might work. I'm sorry, just a second. Yeah, we still need a script to set the waypoint, however. So maybe as we can do it ourselves. Destination move to. Target position will be destination and Oh, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't help you with the orbiting, but maybe I'll send you something so you can try it out. Yeah, but because I think, okay, but I think it's better to use the physics. Okay, try the physics first, and if it doesn't work, then okay, I'll see you next week. Bye bye. Okay, so we're almost done with this. I was just thinking about the uh okay, so maybe we'll just do like one little script here. Sorry. Okay, let me check. Let's say the problem with spawning stuff, with instantiating objects, is that you need to trace them, so you need to save them in some collection, and then if you want to, do something specific with one of these copies, with one of these instances, you need to then take it out of the collection or just reference the collection, take one of the objects, maybe put it in as the target of some other action, etc. etc. So all of this is done programmatically. So it maybe today it's getting too late for this, but next year definitely we'll do stuff like this. So, right. But yeah, your implementation is I actually like it because it's much faster with the tools that we have. It doesn't require additional logic. So just let me know if it goes back with a chase, with another chase action, and we can close this here. But yeah, anyway, it would have been nice to complete the mechanic. But we'll work on stuff like this definitely more. So I would say let's stop here. Does anybody else have some other questions or no? And thank you for sticking till the end. We still have one more meeting, and then of course I'm gonna see you in the exam and then next year. So I'm not gonna say okay bye, bro, because we're gonna be together for some time more. Um, yeah, yeah, for better or worse. Okay, but hopefully next year, because I know this year maybe Giacomo there was some people that really dislike the Unity. Okay, next year we're gonna do something different. Okay, next year we're gonna start with starting about your projects from the start of the course, right? And one of the things that I'm gonna like teach you are better production practice. So I'm gonna ask you to kind of create a document, then production document, then kind of follow stuff, and use the GitHub, use the Git much better, like savings. Maybe you already did it, but most of the people didn't. So, um, and we are basically going to focus on the type of project from the start, and then slowly I'm going to introduce kind of we're going to exercise a bit more on C#, and we're going to introduce more systemic stuff. So how do you make different components communicate, right? If you have like the stuff that I was talking about now, like you generate stuff and then the bow should generate an action or waypoint, the dog should take it, and all of these kind of these type of looping actions. So we're going to do this stuff. Like one of the things that I like to do is like a little ecosystem that, maybe there's some animals, they have different behavior, blah, blah. But yeah, but we're going to try to think about a project with like kind of more correct practices from the start, right? So yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other questions about anything?